You're listening to the Sacred Mama Podcast. I'm your host, Kara Ray, aka the Sacred Mama. I'm a mindset and relationship coach, helping mothers nurture the relationship between themselves, their spouse, and their children. This is also sometimes inside of a co-parenting relationship. This podcast was designed specifically for mothers, stepmothers, and soon-to-be mothers to come together and truly support one another, to have the real, raw, honest, unfiltered, and soulful conversations about the realities of motherhood. My goal is for mothers to reclaim their self-worth and reclaim their self-identity while navigating motherhood. It's time you treated yourself as a priority because most of all, you matter. I believe that you can have the thriving family life. I believe that you can have the booming business. And I believe that you can have the passionate and abundant relationship. Most of all, I believe you can fully love yourself in the now without sacrifice. Throughout this podcast, you'll gain access to the minds of industry leaders and of course, solo episodes by yours truly. So, let's dive in. Today is already day 7. Like, how have we gotten here already? She's taking a picture. So today we're going to be talking about all things money mindset, which this topic is going to be powerful. And so welcome to the final day. I first want to introduce Brittany Reid to the summit today, guys. She is incredible. She's also one of my mentors. So I'm so excited to be sharing this conversation with you. So Brittany Reid is an online business mentor, Kundalini Teacher, and podcast host of the How to Be podcast. She teaches entrepreneurs how to find ease and flow in their business by working with energetic mastery and business strategy. There we go.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. I feel just like it's like a huge honor to come because I'm a new mom, and just to come on the summit and talk and share. And I love it. I love conversations around money. So I hope that the individuals joining us live or on the replay are ready to like break down all of their walls and like step into the fun part about money.
Yes, because money, just like the big thing that I'm learning from you is that it's allowed to be easy and it's allowed to be effortless. And so hello, Gina. Hello, Heather. Thank you for joining us. And so if I miss you guys, please make sure you say hello in the comments because sometimes it doesn't show. So before we dive in, I've been asking everybody this one question, and it's specifically about wow, I can't get my words out right now. What does this summit mean to you?
What does the summit mean to me? Like when I hear reclamation, I hear of coming back to what I like to speak on is our Satnam and our truth, and really just anchoring and coming back into that place as a mom, but as just a woman, and to allow yourself and give yourself permission to like be who you are outside of the label, but then like fully love motherhood and step into who you are as a mom and figure out who you are as a mom. But more importantly, I believe it's like your Satnam is coming back to your truth and rediscovering, that we get kind of sometimes lost in motherhood or kind of our role. And then we forget like, oh, wait, who am I, or how am I feeling? Or wait, have I actually like fully breathed today? Or did I take a moment out for myself? Those aspects. And so to me, it's more importantly, I have loved seeing it because you are giving women a permission, like by you doing it, but you're giving women to actually stand in their truth and allow themselves to completely be bold and love it in every moment.
Yes, I love this. Thank you for those beautiful, beautiful response. And I would just want to touch on that, you guys. Like, you can do what you set your mind to. Like, just before this, my hair's in braids because we were going to be outside all day. And so we've been outside with family. I have a ton of family here and I'm still doing the thing. And so you can too. And so what I want to dive right in because we are talking about money mindset. And I really want to ask you the first question is, what does having a positive relationship with wealth and abundance specifically mean to you?
To me, I get to have it all.
Yes.
Um, I get to have it all, but with ease and flow. And I mean, you're not new to hearing me say that. So I believe that we get to have it all. We get to experience it all. We get to feel it all. And having a positive money mindset and wealth mindset is more than just what your bank account actually shows, and it's a state of being. And that's where I talk about that ease and flow aspect, is like you get to have it all, but you need to become an energetic match for it, because if you aren't, then your system isn't actually built out properly to withhold and sustain it. And so to me, it's all about being able to have it all.
Can we for a second touch on being an energetic match for it? Because there's this, you know, this quote about how like abundance is your birthright and being an energetic match. And I feel like it can be very confusing to some people. You know, I know when people kept saying to me, like, it's easy. You just need to be in like flow with this. I'm like, how do you do that though? And I overcomplicated it. So I'd really love for you to touch on that aspect, because you've guided me beautifully through that. So.
Yeah. So becoming an energetic match is more than just being like, I know who I want to become and I'm operating in that, but I'm like overspending still. Cause like, obviously that person that's making that desired income or that desired sales and whatnot, it will use money in a very different way.
Yeah.
But an energetic match, like, cause like a lot of people are like, oh, but like, that means like, I'll just like go and have Starbucks every day. But their actual like reality of the tangible money that's coming through isn't holding that space just yet. It will happen. So an energetic match is actually coming back to your endocrine system and your nervous system and building it out in a way of strength and endurance and resilience, so that you can withhold that actual currency and that frequency. So when we think about money and we actually get to the root of money, it's a currency, which is a current. Like, think of an actual circuit, a way of flow. And you need to actually become that container that fills it. So an energetic match is actually more than just like trying to live like your next level self. It's actually coming into a deeper embodiment of what that is, why you want it. If you don't know why, it's not gonna happen. And then when you become an energetic match and you're building that out, and that's those the practices I teach my clients and the people that step into my container, is actually also completely feeling worthy of what you want. And that doesn't mean putting validation in it, but it means being worthy and going, okay, this is my birthright. And it's the stories. So that's like, I'm going to keep going deep into it because I freaking love it. But it's actually about building out a strong endocrine system and a nervous system, which is really cool because people don't actually think of money and those two things together.
Yeah. I never did.
Yeah.
I never did. So and I want to touch on this too. Would it also have to be like, when we're talking about energetics, like the feeling, like what it feels like to potentially have, for example, 10K coming in? Is it the feeling that we're also trying to embody? Would you agree?
I would say, yeah, there's truth in that. You do want to feel and you want to really hold that true to yourself, and you want to have that in your awareness and have that in your, your focal point for sure. But it's when you actually know that it's the truth, you build out the structure around it and you let it go and you surrender to how it's going to happen. And then you surrender. And it's like, well, how am I going to surrender when I have like bills to pay? And it's like, well, how can you actually see what those bills give you or that investment gives you rather than it being taken away? And that's the one thing that we've been taught from a very young age, is that everything that leaves your bank account is being taken from you almost. Whereas actually, no, it's amplifying. And so the one example I really like to give people with energetic match, which one of my teachers taught me, or just like used an example, is when you see an actual, like, we'll just go to celebrities because it's really easy to kind of pair together. So when you see, like, say when Justin Bieber really hit it off, right? He like got fame overnight. He like had all of this money come to him. He had all of this like this energy come to him, and in forms of, you know, interviews, like tours, money, all of the things. And then he ended up having a lot of like alcohol and drugs and partying, and that because his energetic actual container couldn't hold on to it because it wasn't stretched to that before it came. So I really help my clients build out the container bigger than what's coming in, because then when what's coming in, it's just ease. You don't self-sabotage. You don't just try to go and spend it. You don't try to just like get it out of your system, because there's an actual disconnect in the energy of your body, not just like, oh, well, yeah, I know it's possible.
Yeah.
So I like to use like a celebrities, because you see it a lot as people become famous, they get a lot of money, and then they either are broke and, you know, they completely spend it all, or they end up coping with like a drug or alcohol.
Well, I was going to say that's also why we see a lot of people who win the lottery bankrupt.
Yeah. And then the lottery is an example of that. And we also haven't been taught how to positively use money.
Yes.
So there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of scarcity, there's a lot of guilt, there's a lot of shame. You know, it was taboo to talk about money. I'm like, let's talk about it. Let's get in it.
Well, and I want to touch on, you know, when in regards to something that they could implement in regards to being grateful for, you know, money.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you've briefly talked about this before, about like being grateful for everything that comes out and also everything that comes in. And so like, what is your take on that? Because I know that there are moms who are struggling with like, what is the first thing that I can try to implement? And that was probably the first thing I started implementing, was actually being grateful for every cent coming in and every cent going out. And so what's your take on that?
Yeah, I have a really interesting thing about gratitude. And I feel like I really started to understand this with my partner. And he, because we always like, I always ask like, what are we grateful for? And he, before bed and all these things. So I also feel like gratitude can hold you back from your potential of what you can actually see and feel in money, or in a relationship, or in anything, like just everything, anything you can insert, whatever. I feel like it's like, oh, well, I should be grateful for what I have, so I'm going to just settle here. And it's like, no, you can feel grateful and still want more. I am grateful for everything in my life and everything that I've created, but I still want more, because I know I can have more. I know I can experience more, and I'm only living this life probably once. So let's just live it out. And so something that I think is really important, a tangible thing, is one, you have to get really, really clear and own up to your financial situation right now.
Yes.
You cannot change your financial situation if you're not being super, super clear and honest with yourself. And that's one of the things that I dive deep into my course with my clients, is because they need to become clear on, how is my energy actually operating right now?
Yeah.
And so the biggest tangible tip I could give someone is like, get really clear with your finances. Go through your bank account, and not in a judgmental way, just see where the energy is going. Yeah. See where it's actually flowing, is like what I say is, see, you know, like if you were to go into my bank account, you would see that I love going and getting cappuccinos. That is my thing. And you will see a million of them in my monthly account. But what I've understood and understand about my system is, if I actually feel like I take that away from myself, I feel like I'm putting on a sense of a budget mindset in a negative way. Whereas I love going out to the art of coffee and sitting there. I feel like, yes, so complete. This is good, juicy. I don't need anything else. And except like there's money constantly coming into my bank account. And I know that sitting there. And so what you also need to understand is, where do you really enjoy spending money?
Yeah.
And not actually take that away from you, but scale it back into an appropriate amount that you give yourself and you allot yourself to. So, I mean, I don't have an allotted amount for my cappuccinos. I'm just not ever going to. If someone ever tried to take that away from me, I'd be like, see you later. No. Because I know that that ritual and that experience actually makes me feel like I am a billionaire. And I don't know why, but it's just something important to me. That's like buying whatever kind of food I want. I will never put a budget on that because my health is super important. So
Yes.
the first and foremost is getting super honest with yourself. But then if you don't know really what makes you feel abundant or makes you feel like you're in that space of like complete limitless, you can go to your bank account and see it, because you'll see what you really, really like. But you also need to check in with yourself. Am I doing this to self-sabotage something? Am I doing this because I'm trying to numb something out? No, I don't try to numb out with coffee. I love the taste and the culture of coffee.
Yes.
So that would be the biggest thing, because you need to start to understand where the energy is flowing first to then actually start to shift. And it's a constant relationship. It's always evolving. It's always changing. And the other levels of money that you get to experience, there'll be new things to learn.
Well, and first off, I love coffee. And I regularly probably hit up Starbucks and a couple places that are here in not in town here, but where I'm from. And I love to sit there. I love the feeling. I love sitting there and the energy that I have, the energy exchange basically that I have with that. It is something, and I've even said to my husband, like I love London fogs. Let's just call it what it is. Love it. And it makes me feel, pardon me?
You need to go to Everyday Kitchen in Regina.
I hear it's amazing. And so I understand like that feeling that you're talking about, and knowing what that feeling is, like when I'm sipping it, when I'm drinking it, when I'm buying it, when I'm purchasing it, it's all like this beautiful, beautiful energy exchange. And so I want to ask you, what is one thing that you would recommend? Like, I know we've talked about one other thing, but I guess what is another thing that you would recommend to moms to really improve their money mindset right now? Like one thing that they could do to improve that.
Ooh, oh my gosh, there's so many. It depends on where you're at. But one thing to really improve your money mindset is how can you feel and see what is given more to you of rather than taken away? Because it's hard being a mom when all of a sudden, like you're sometimes bound to your house because your kid only sleeps like in your house, or where you also feel like really isolated. But like where and how can you actually start to feel and to experience what you're actually given? And it really, like, our money relationship starts as early as 7 years old. So we identify and actually understand what money means to us based off of what we experience others that are mainly around us. So if that's, your mom or dad or guardian or whoever you spend the most time with when you're really, really young. So by the time our kids are 7, they've actually already identified what money feels like, what it looks like in their life, how it's being used, and how they're going to use it. Like you're programming them into feeling like it's always around, you're always supported with it or not.
I love that you brought this up. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. So like when there was my client once, she remembered that when they would be like out doing things, that she would ask her parents, like, for a couple dollars to go to like the canteen and get something that, all the kids are getting and all these things.
Yeah.
And it was like a really, really big thing for her parents. And they didn't actually educate or empower her behind why. And so she actually like grew up with the mentality of like, there's never enough. Like like that $2 is everything. And if you want to make more money, you need to look at money in a very, very different way, because you need to be willing to actually let it go, because when you let it go, it comes back to you. And so I think first and foremost for her, to like a mother, to actually feel the abundance and the wealth that's truly around her is like, one, look at your child. Like you just made the most incredible being in the entire world, and there's no price on that. Like that, like that being, like you made it. So if you made a child, you can do anything in the world. And this is going to be super raw and super blunt, but like get out of your own way, because you have so much to experience, and you are capable of making 10 times the amount you did before you were a mom, when you had all the time in the world, is when you are a mom. It doesn't actually change, because money is energy, and energy actually can be amplified by it just being energy. It can just be amplified. It's actually how you choose to direct your energy. And then for your kids, like as a mom, your kid, which is like a really great thing, but then also it's like, wow, we're really programming them, is that we understand what money is by the time we're 7. So actually we carry that energy all the way up to our adulthood until we're like, wait, what does my relationship look like to money? We don't get taught money in school usually. Like we don't get taught how to leverage it. We don't get taught how to circulate it. We don't get taught how to feel like, because your card that you carry with you is a card. It's a card that has money in it. It's not like when we look at a $20 bill, we actually understand that that's $20. And that card, actually, if you start to understand, like, no, like millions and billions or whatever you want, it comes to me and it's in there, can either, one, elevate your money amplification and abundance and attraction and ability to see how to use it. But it also, if you haven't dealt with all of the relationship that you had already lived and already embodied for your lifetime right now, it can actually put you into an overstate, because you don't know how much is in there. You're avoiding even looking at it. So you can't actually manage it properly because it doesn't actually have a value on it. And so the card that we use that gives us opportunity and ability to buy anything is actually like, how much is it to make that card? Probably 30 cents. But we can actually have as much in there or as little, and you get to choose.
And so I want to touch on, the relationship that we have with money and how it's kind of ingrained in us by the time we're 7. And this is very true. I grew up with divorced parents, and so each of them had very different relationships with money. So I feel like the two of them was something that I kind of grew up with, but the one that stuck with me the most was my father. And it was, you had to work your ass off to receive anything. And it was the same thing about if I wanted $2 to go to the store, I was cleaning the house. I was making sure that, and there was no explanation behind it. When we went out to buy something, or if I desired something, like I still remember to this day, I wanted these, like those, those smelly markers. There was like those big fat smelly markers.
Oh, Mr. Sketchy markers.
Yes. I wanted those so bad for years. Like I asked every single year, and every single year they told me it was too expensive and that it wasn't for me. And it was created that this idea that I wasn't allowed to have certain things and that this wasn't something that I could do. And then that carried with me as I grew. But then I also then meet my husband, who grew up drastically different with money, who had an ease with receiving, who had an ease with spending, and it triggered the heck out of me. Because I was like, what are you doing? Like, are you not paying attention to what you have? He's like, yeah, I have, we're good. And he had this ease about it. And he literally, this man can like manifest money like you wouldn't believe. And I was jealous of the fact that he could do this. And our families did come from very different situations and upbringings. And it is true, like how you're brought up, the relationship behind it, the explanation behind it.
And he knows he's entirely supported no matter what.
100%.
He's like, 100%. No, I'm supported. I always have money. It always comes to me. This is just what happens. Yes. And having that, it's like, you can feel it probably in my voice of like, no, it's here. It always happens. It's always coming to me. I'm always going to 10 times it. I choose to actually create more money by every action I do and I be and I see and I feel.
Yep. And then what I noticed was that because I had this jealousy around the way that he could receive money and the way that he could spend money and just the relationships that he had with it versus mine, I was projecting my own fears onto my husband. And I was projecting this scarcity mindset, which he started to take on. And the second I noticed him turn into that, I said, stop. Like, I actually really want to embrace your mindset and the way you feel about money.
Yeah.
I do not want you to take this on. Like, I don't. I said, if anything, this isn't something. I said, it's something I have to deal with and acknowledge and know that I can then rewrite that. But it's true. Like, we teach our kids that, and my husband and I are very mindful of how we speak to money to our children.
Yeah.
We're very mindful of it.
And
And
so can I give you one word for anyone who's like watching the live or replay? One word that just completely kiboshes and just negatively impacts your money mindset in every single way, no matter what your story is, no matter what you're struggling with, no matter how and what you feel about money right now, is saying expensive. That word is not in my vocabulary. I like catch everyone when they say it, because I'm like, no. Because when we tell our kids this, it's saying that's far away. You'll never be able to receive it. It's too much. It's too much. Like, I'm here, it's here, and you're never going to get there. And then every time you say it, it just keeps like moving like this. So it's always just like an inch away. It's always just an inch away. I choose to not spend my money there right now, or I do not put my money there right now at the moment. Because you also need to be realistic with money. I said, until I can actually just like exchange with a first class ticket on a flight, like, you got to use money. Like, it's just the currency that we use and exchange value with individuals. And that's why when something actually has a higher or a bigger number on the price tag, you're actually choosing to step into the energy of that. And then you need to let go. You need to show up and do the work, but you also need to let go of the expectations of what that looks like in terms of the result. Because anything that I choose, like, I don't believe that there is anything too expensive in this world. I just don't. I don't.
Yeah.
And that's by actually getting rid of that word out of our vocabulary. And so that's something really, really powerful for couples that don't have potentially the same, mindset around money, or you're starting to like really just work with your money mindset, work with your wealth thermometer is what I like to call it as well, so that you can actually start to see where things are and how they just effortlessly come to you. But if you constantly saying it's too expensive, you're telling yourself all of your desires, all of your dreams, everything that you actually deeply desire and are probably saved on your Pinterest board or on your Instagram, you're not worthy of, and you'll never have. But it's truly just a choice.
Well, and I love that you talked about that, because we talk to like our kids, I love spoiling my children. I do. It's something I really do love to do, but I also love to teach them about money and where things come from and how I created that money, or how they can also do that. And so my stepson, he's getting to this age where he very much wants to create his own money. And he has this simplicity, like he's very much like his dad, where what he gives, he also gets back, like you've said before, like 10 times that. And I swear magically he always does. And he's 12. He's incredible at it. And even he doesn't look at things as too expensive. Like, if he wants something, he's like, no, I want this.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I want. And he's actually even said, if it's not something I want, I don't worry about it. If it's something I want it. So he doesn't even have like the word like expensive in his vocabulary, which I think is beautiful. But we've also taught them that. Like, I've also had conversations with my parents where I catch them and they'll say, you're buying all of these things, or you're doing all of these things. And I'm like, well, yes, I want to, and I have the capacity to do it. And it doesn't feel difficult for me to do it. So because it might've felt difficult for you, that's your story. It's not mine. So, but that's something that I had to learn. Like, I had to set some very high boundaries when it came to conversations about finances with my parents. Because growing up,
talk about it.
No, it's something we don't anymore, because it actually caused a lot of problems. Like I love my parents, but my father and my stepmother micromanaged my money for years, which caused stress on our relationship together, strain. It was horrible. It was not. And now when we talk about it, my dad's even said, maybe we shouldn't have done it that way.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have done it different. And he said, because I've noticed that like I was trying to put you in a bubble and protect you. And it ended up coming down to the fact when, they really struggled financially when they were younger, and he didn't want me to experience that. which then him trying to put me in the bubble pushed me towards struggling.
Yeah.
So it's like really being mindful of those things. So I love this conversation, like absolutely love this conversation. And so, you know, are there simple ways that what are some simple ways that moms can really help their children with that relationship with wealth and abundance? Like that they can start now? Like you talked about the whole word, like removing the word expensive out of the vocabulary, but what is something else that you would recommend to them with helping with the upbringing of their kids?
So expensive, that word first and foremost, and really getting clear and understanding your money story and your relationship to money. And this, you know, it's deep work. It's not easy. And the reason why is it's in the lower triangle of our energetic body, which has family, survival, commitment, creativity, sensuality, sexuality. It's literally the foundation of everything that we have as a being. And then it starts to, you know, manifest into the higher frequencies and into the upper triangle. But when like you look at like sex, money, and drugs, like it was put in with sex. And it's just actually that money is in the same energy space as sensuality and sexuality. And whether that's with yourself or with others or however that looks. And so one important thing is that I believe a lot of, and for any woman here that wants to like really dive deep into their sensuality and everything, in that realm, the book called Reclamation, it's called Reclamation, but it's called Pussy.
Yes.
By Mama Gina. It is like the best book in the entire world. Everyone needs to get it. Please go and get it. Please tag that you've bought it, and like tell me what, because it's the greatest. It's just the greatest. And one, we need to like own up to that, because the thing also with women is that the more you're connected into your womb space, the more you're connected with your cycle, the more you're connected with your sensuality. Women are made for pleasure. We're made for luxurious experience. We're made to have it all. We are like a pleasure temple. And I believe that money gives us the ability to have more choices in life. And that's pleasurable. Like, I want more choices. Cool.
Of course.
So another big piece is understanding and coming back into that sensual, authentic self of who you are and who you were. Maybe you know who that is inside of yourself. And if you don't, go and explore it and get that book. If you already know who you are, get that book.
Yes.
But, it doesn't relate to money, because it's not like you're taking your money and putting it into different areas in a bank account. But it's the way you actually receive and take care of yourself. When you take care of yourself, you work through your own shit, you're working through your own inner work and your shadows and that, which is all the lower triangle, the guilt, the shame, the scarcity, the I am not worthy enough, I'm not good enough, no one sees me, I'm not heard, I'm on all these things. When you actually come back into the state of who you are and connect to that person, you're actually embodying your truth. And when you embody more of your truth, you embody more of who you are, you're going to naturally feel abundant. You're going to naturally feel wealthy. You're going to naturally feel supported and taken care of, because you're taking care of yourself. And when you're in that state more and more and more, and it's hard being a mom sometimes, because you don't get like a timeout like sometimes you need, but you can feel it with the way you eat. You can feel it with the way you look at your bills. When we look at our bills, we actually see what we've been given from that. Not that it's a bill that we have to pay. We're like, wow, I get to pay this, and this gives me X, Y, and Z. And that's why I also think it's really, really important to also have a coach or a mentor or someone working with you that's outside of your life, because sometimes it is hard to start changing things when our partner isn't on board, or, our family doesn't understand, or our friends don't understand. And we're really wanting to change and choose a different life and choose a different way of operation. It's, I think, really, really powerful. And the more you actually get comfortable with investing in yourself, the more money is going to come to you. I will tell you hands down.
I have to agree.
Yeah. And it comes in so many ways, right? And so the word expensive, but also when you embody that, kids learn. They don't need to be told. They need to be shown. They need to experience it. And so when you embody that and your kid actually looks and sees you taking care of yourself, you making that delicious, like Buddha bowl or whatever kind of food you want that like nurtures and energizes your body and like detoxifies and gets rid of things. Like when your son or daughter watches you drink water, goes and works out, laugh with friends, make those things a priority, they will naturally do that. Because we come actually knowing we're completely supported.
Yeah.
We know, like right when we're born, we know we're supported. We know that like we are fully taken care of. But it's the experience of what people have. And it's not to be upset at what your past was either. It's to completely forgive and go, you know what? They did the best. Like I did the best. But I'm going to choose something different for myself. And by choosing something different, you're building more trust and confidence and commitment within yourself, which is all the positive things in the lower triangle. And then you're actually producing more security and more safety naturally in that energy centers that money just starts to really come to you, because also money resides down there too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's like the whole thing in here that I'm like seeing as like a big thing that keeps coming up is that awareness and acknowledgement, and that you have a choice, and that there's always a choice and you can choose something different, and like taking responsibility for where we are now, but then also knowing that we can take responsibility for where we're going. Mm-hmm. Like it's beautiful in that way. And so this whole conversation, I really, really, really want to, before we, like this was a big topic I want to talk about, was debt. Because I feel like this word itself is something that keeps people very stuck in their life. And it was something that kept me stuck for so long. And I had identified myself as this broke person. And so what is your definition of debt? Because I have a beautiful definition now, but like, what do you define debt as?
So I don't define debt as good, bad, or anything. It's neutral. Mm-hmm. I believe that sometimes you can use debt in a very powerful way to get you what you want. Like you can use it in a very positive way. Now, debt is actually borrowing money that you do not have. Mm-hmm. And I think the biggest thing that you could do in your actual money reality right now, in terms of the numbers in your bank accounts, is to consolidate and disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor. I am not a banker. I am not any sort of, I'm not. But I personally, this is what I would do. This is what we have done. This is what I recommend all of my clients when they ask me this word is, first and foremost, you need to see is debt has gifted you so much. Like go and write out everything that it actually, like everything you've paid for with that money, and see what it brought to you. So again, coming back into the state of, what did I actually receive from this? Not that it was taken away, because technically, yes, you do owe it back. Mm-hmm. Then, and I have had lots of people go through my my course or work with me in a mentorship who have taken like incredible steps where they like felt like they were gonna like throw up in the bank, because they associated banks with like contraction. And they're like, no, I'm actually creating a solution. So consolidating into the lowest percentage of interest. So how can you actually consolidate or move your debt into a place where you're paying the lowest interest? If you can't, pay off the one that has the highest interest first and immediately, and then start working backwards, because that will actually, overall, you won't be paying as much interest. So that is like something that you can do. I mean, like going and talking to like an actual financial advisor or like a wealth manager or someone that can actually help take, you know, what's your reality right now in terms of the tangible of the money. You can do all of the inner work. You can do all of the, you know, the creation of money. You can do all of the actual work every single day and how you actually feel about money. But, you know, they'll also help you to leverage it.
Yeah.
But I believe that debt is neutral. I believe that debt gives you an opportunity. Like I've had a business loan before years ago. This was years ago. I wanted the business. I knew it was possible. I was already making money, but I wanted to just like get there, and I had the opportunity to. So it's like, okay, great. And then it's like, but I need to also understand, like, how am I going to pay that back? What does that look like in terms, because you can't, if you stretch yourself too much, you can paralyze yourself. But you want to stretch yourself enough that you actually show up in a bigger way.
Yes.
Because if you're not uncomfortable, if you're not stretched, you're not actually energetically going to change. You're not going to actually change your reality. If you know that everything's just going to take, you're just going to coast. It's kind of the way our like biological humanness works, is that when we're put under a little bit of pressure, we show up bolder, we show up bigger, we take immediate action rather than like, oh, maybe later. But you can also avoid. So if you're not paying for your you know, for what you've already spent, work towards that. Like you can still be abundant, you can still do all of the wealth work of the energy side, getting into that space, working on your money story. How do you show up? How do you actually feel about money? And it will be taken care of. And debt isn't like always a bad thing. Now, if you've used it in a way where you avoid it and you don't pay your bills, well, you need to check on actually why you're not doing that first before you try to like open up another credit card.
Yes. And that's actually something my husband and I did, you know, when he had gone from being previously married to then us getting married. There was a lot of things that we had to figure out in between from what was from before and that one was now, and what I was willing to take on and not. And I had to set some very strong boundaries of like what they had created prior was not my responsibility. And I was very clear on that. I said, you know, I love you and I'm here to support you in our life, but I'm not here to support what happened here. And he had to set himself some boundaries, but like even ourselves, like we've consolidated, we had to do those things where we had to take everything and get the lowest interest and really be smart about things. And, you know, I think it's that whole awareness piece. Like if you're not actually being aware of what you're doing and how you're doing it, if you go get more somewhere else, you're going to max it again. Like if you're not actually being aware of what that looks like.
And if you're not aware and you're not willing to actually do the work every day, you need to set some boundaries on yourself. You need to be real to actually change your reality, because yes, like what I say is like, you can meditate on how much money you want all the time, but if you actually don't show up and do the work, the universe isn't going to co-conspire with you. You're not going to get the opportunities, the sales, the raise or anything. But once you actually choose to come back into that, it's amazing what happens with my clients. And the people that come through my course is they're like, holy moly, like I'm charging what I actually is in alignment to what I want. And now I'm actually able to pay off all of my debt, or I'm able to save, or I'm able to reinvest, or I'm able to hire that coach, or to hire the house cleaner so that I have more time back. Because I also use time as more of my wealth meter than what money is. So the more I operate and use my time and leverage my time, the more money I make. And that's another belief. So I'm not going to sit and waste my time cleaning my house. If I so choose to, because I want to, great. But I'm not going to do that. And I'm also in a place where I can actually like pay for it or be able to have that. But years ago, I would have been like, no. Like, I'm not worthy of having that.
I used to say that to myself all the time.
Yeah. And so you really have to like, if you're in a, you know, whether you're in a relationship, you're in a new relationship, you've been in a relationship for a long time, you're a single mom, whatever your relationship is with, you know, you need to really support and surround yourself with individuals that think the way you think about money. And it's one of the biggest things that I see in people, like in women that want the support and want to invest into themselves, but their partner isn't on board. And I think it's really powerful to have your own choice.
Yes.
And not have to actually talk to, like, you can be a team. Like, it's interesting. I have a post coming out about this, but Justin and I are a team.
Yeah.
Do I actually talk to him about business investments? No, because he's not my CEO. So why would his energetic body, why would his being be influenced in what I know to be true and what I know is going to progress my business? But we're a team, and I talk to him about investments because he has a family business. He understands that you need to actually invest money to make money. You need to circulate the money. So I can talk to him, but like I straight up said, the first thing, a boundary that I said when we got together was that I will not ask for your permission or approval to invest into anything.
Like, I think the thing here is the awareness of like having the conversation. Like, you know, you're still talking to your spouse about it, but there's a difference between going to them and saying, hey, do you think I should do this? Because it's opening up the space for them to then say no, and then for you to get upset. What I do with my husband is that he includes me in decisions. Yeah. And I also include him. But a lot of the time, like when I'm convinced that I'm doing something, like especially like when, you know, for example, when I made the choice to work with you, I was like, this is what I know is going to expand my business, what is going to expand my life, my income, I'm going to make this decision. I would love for you to be here and support me in making this decision. Yeah. And then I ask him how he feels about me making this big decision. Even though I'm still making the decision, I ask him on how he feels about it. And because I go at it out of a space of like, I'm convinced and I know that this is going to happen, he also knows it's going to happen.
Because you're talking with confidence. You're talking with confidence. You're showing the value. You're clear about what you want, not like tiptoeing like, I want to make this decision. And I think that's why a lot of women's businesses and mothers' businesses, like women that work at home with their kids, don't actually grow to be where it could take over like the entire house's income. Because they are choosing to, and it's okay, but they're choosing to go, this is what I want to do, and it actually comes down and deep into the healing as the women collective, because women weren't necessarily the workers. They weren't the person that brought in the money. They weren't that. So there is this collective healing of the woman archetype, of the feminine archetype, that like I am like, no. I am just as powerful as you, and I am just as capable, and I'm going to do it. But it's with that confidence, right? That when you show up with confidence and know what you want to do, and you actually express that, he's like, well, yeah, it's going to work.
And we also like, I'm very much like, I know what our money situation is. I'm very aware of it. I've always looked at it. I've always been very mindful of it. It's just something that I do. And I don't make a decision when I know it's when I don't feel confident with that decision. Like I do not make that decision. I always ensure, because yes, like there's things in my business that are paid, but I also know that like my bills have to get paid. Like things have to get done. So I also make sure that there is the capacity here that is done. Like it's said and it is good to go. But if I know that we have this that's coming in and there's extra space for me to expand, then I make the choice. It's like a no-brainer choice where I know that there's there's a lot of it's the same with my husband. There is the time where, you know, in his previous marriage where he felt like he always had to ask permission. Like he got into this space where he felt like he had to ask. And I even caught him this morning where I said, stop asking me permission. I said, I love you with every ounce of my being, but please stop asking me permission. Stop asking me if like our child is dressed properly, or stop asking me if you can go buy sandals. I'm like, just go buy the sandals.
Just go make the decision, because I already have too many decisions I have to make.
And I said to him this morning, I'm like, I trust you. Like, I trust you. Allow me to trust you. Trust yourself.
And
like,
if we have a trust, if someone here is experiencing where maybe they have made a decision financially that didn't go to plan, or, you know, they failed through something. Do you see how I say through it?
Yeah.
But you failed, or, you know, the investment didn't work out, or the business idea didn't work out, or whatever that is it actually did, because you're getting more clear. We need to stop identifying like if we're progressing or failing through what the numbers are. But when you actually choose to do the scary thing, to invest, to show up, to do the work, and to continue doing the work, no matter the outcome, you're actually building more confidence and more belief and more trust within yourself. And that's the only way to actually heal that area, is to show that you can do it. Like, it is possible, because if it's possible for me, if it's possible for you, it's possible for anyone. If it's possible for, you know, the wealthiest person in the world, it's possible. Like, everything is possible. Everything is within reach. It's just how you choose to actually show up and do the work. And like, if I wasn't in a place where the money was there, yes, I would talk to Justin. Yes, I would talk to my partner. I would want to make sure that they're on board, because, like, well, we have to also pay for things, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But we need to operate from what I like to call as a CEO, because I work with a lot of entrepreneurs. We need to operate with that choice and that belief and that confidence of what we know is going to actually move our life forward, or our finances forward. And sometimes we might not have the support of that person. I'm very grateful that I do have the support, and I always will have the support, and I will always support him as well. Like, whatever, I'm like, cool, let's figure it out. Or if it isn't in reach, I'm like, how can we make this happen? Like, what do I need to do? What do you need to do to make this happen? So you're fulfilled, I'm fulfilled, and then we can move forward. Because then ultimately Keanu, our son, is going to see that. He's going to feel that. He's going to know that it's possible for him too. He's going to know that it can happen for him, and that he's supported, he's safe, he's taken care of. And one thing we actually have done is set up him bank accounts. And well, like, you can't, they're technically in our name, but they're his, because you can't actually, we learned that you can't actually set them up when they're this young. But, you know, and then we're also setting it up in a way where he gets to choose how he wants to use that money eventually. Is it going to school? Is it entrepreneurship? Is it traveling? Is it because he has an idea of inventing something? Like, how does he actually want? But we're going to be showing him and teaching him, when he's at that age of understanding numbers, how to manage his money in a very proactive, wealth-focused way, so that he can, you know, he won't have the situation like I did when I was 18. I mean, I had a really great experience, and it's only like I've spent my money in the ways I have, and it's brought me to today. I do not get upset at myself for the way I used to spend money when I was younger.
Yep. Well, and we've done the same thing for our kids, like all four. We have like investment things set up for them, because I know that I want them to feel always supported. I don't ever want them to question the decisions that they make at that age, because that's a very sensitive age. Like, it's a very sensitive time. It's when we're very pressured by like a whole bunch of people to make whichever decisions. And I've said to my husband from day one, I will never force my children to make a choice they do not want to make. I want them to make the informed decision on if they choose to go to post-secondary, if they choose entrepreneurship, whatever the choice is, I want them to know that they're set up to also see that through. And so, like, we ensure that the investments that we make were not just solely for like university, for example, post-secondary. We ensured that they could then transfer it over to something different. That was important, because I was like, if they choose not to, I want to ensure that that money has a space to go, that they know that they can then use it towards this. And we were able to find that, but we made the choice that we wanted to support them. Like, I support my stepkids, guys. I do this because I love them. Like, they are supported because I want them to be supported for the rest of their life. And I could go on forever.
Yeah.
And ever.
It's just important to like lead by example. And that is actually how you feel. Like, Keanu understands my energy more than what I say. Like he understands if mom is feeling excited and spacious and, you know, fulfilled or abundant or, you know, but then he's also going to feel if mom is any other emotion too. If I'm sad, I'm angry, I'm upset, I'm feeling lack of, you know, and so he's going to actually feel that, and his energetic body, his chakras, if we're going to go even deeper, which could be like a whole other series of just like energy and money. And it's important because they're actually being created right now. And that's why by the time they're 7, their whole energetic system is created. Their aura is very structured. It's out of mom's aura. It's out of that influence of the moms. That's why kids, like until they're about 4, they really, really, really love mom. Like at least that's what I know. You probably could tell me if that's true, that like when there's that kind of like mom to dad, like switch, isn't there like a switch?
It's honestly, I feel like it's back and forth because like I got to see like my stepdaughter, I got into her life when she was 5 and she's 9 now. So she was very daddy. Like at that stage, she was very daddy. But my stepson, for example, he's very mom. Like he's very much mom. But like my littlest, like, well, not my littlest, but my toddler, she's very attached to me and what I do, and like every second of the day.
So kids understand your energy before they like understand the actions you're taking, like in terms of like showing them. And so it's really important to set up that energy within yourself so that they're actually feeling that from the youngest age possible. And they're feeling that more and more and more, because then they're going to naturally just grow up like your husband, who has always felt supported and always knows that it's coming, always knows it's taken care of, because that was his reality when he grew up. Like he felt that more and more and more.
And it's still his reality.
Yeah. Which is beautiful because that's that anchor point, right?
Yeah.
And it's a relationship. So like, how are you using money is like, how are you actually using your relationships and interacting with your relationships, one yourself, but then the people around you. And so how you show up with your money is also a great example of how you're showing up in your relationships, and vice versa. It's a nice way to kind of focus on maybe how you're showing up. And it's just really, really important to take care of this because you're meant to be wealthy.
Yes.
You're meant to have it all.
And so I feel like this is a beautiful space to like wrap everything up and to really bring it all together. You know, we've gone very many different directions in regards to this conversation. And like Brittany said, we could talk forever about really wealth and abundance and what it is and the energetics behind everything. But there's a lot of takeaways inside this. And so is there anything else that you would love to say to the moms who are watching this now or catching the replay before we wrap it all up?
I would go buy that book. I think just every mom, regardless of money mindset and everything, needs that book. So it's Pussy, the Reclamation by Mama Gina. You can get it on. If you don't know how to get it, reach out to Kara or myself, and please like tag us if you buy it and read it. So the biggest thing is that radical responsibility and ownership with just how things are right now, because once you know where you're at right now, you can actually move the needle forward. You can start to make the shifts, and you need to be working with your bank account, where money is going, where it's coming in, how is it actually, what is your relationship right now to it, and then you also at the same time do the inner work, start to understand, you know, what your money story is. Like, what was money growing up? What did it feel like? What did it look like? How have I felt? What do I feel like when I'm paying for something? What do I feel like when I'm receiving something? And get the word expensive out of your vocabulary if you so have it right now, because that will just do wonders and wonders for you. And know that you're always one choice away from experiencing the wealth and the abundance in terms of your bank account, but also the experience and fulfillment that you have in life. The more you embody that fulfilled truth, is the more you're going to actually just become a wealth attractor. You're going to attract the opportunities to give you those experiences. You're going to attract the clients. You're going to attract the sales. You're going to attract the salary increase. You're going to attract it all. And it's going to show up, but you also need to be confident in yourself that you can take that leap and you can stretch yourself so that you can actually achieve what you want to do. So if you're not willing to stretch yourself, if you're not willing to do the uncomfortable thing, your money situation is just going to stay the same.
You guys, seriously, the things that Brittany talked about in this, like implement, like just make the conscious choice to implement and be intentional with it, because it will shift and you will start seeing things change within your relationship, with the relationship with wealth, but just in all aspects of your life, because it truly starts with you, which is the whole aspect of this summit, is that it starts with you. And so I want to say thank you so much again for being a part of this, for being here, for having such a beautiful conversation with me. Please let everybody know where they can connect with you. And then once we're finished here, please ensure to put it in the comments so that they can find you on all the places.
Yeah. Well, I want to say first, thank you so much for watching the live or the replay. Let us know, when you're watching. And thank you so much, Kara, for inviting me into this space. I am a new mama, which I just feel so honored to be in the Mama Summit. And the places that you can find me is, like, first and foremost on Instagram at Brittany C. Reid. That's where you'll find me hanging out, talking a lot. There's so much information and education on that platform for you to ingest and dive into. Again, you can find me on my Facebook page. I don't really use it that much. So it's Brittany Reid as well on Facebook, but more importantly, BrittanyReid.ca is my website, and then the How to Be podcast on iTunes, which we talk about all of the untold stories of entrepreneurship. I go into motherhood. I do a lot of money mindset work, and we have a lot of really, really beautiful conversations where I wanted to shine the light on the untold stories. And those are the main places, but Instagram is usually where we're hanging out, and we have some exciting new things coming in the works right now. But if you have any question too about, because money is such a big topic, all of our relationships are so different, and I want just to invite you into my space to feel safe and supported, and there's no judgment for you to share, this is where I'm at and this is what I would like to create. I'm kind of confused on what I could implement based off of what's happening right now. Just feel free to reach out to me, send me a message. I can help direct you into the places or allow and provide you some clarity on what you can take, because I truly want you to feel and experience all of the things that you can in this world and with your money. And because money gives you more opportunity and choice and freedom of choice, right? It's not going to solve all your problems, but it's going to give you choice. And that's a huge thing. And that's a huge mission of mine, is having women to experience more choice in their life and do the damn thing that they want to do and purchase the thing that they want to purchase. Without having to justify or identify with why, but just doing it because you want to. And so I just want to invite you into that space so that, you can answer, because it is a big topic, and it's kind of oh, well, I don't know where to go for my situation, or I'm feeling just still uncertain or unclear, and I'm just a click away. So you can reach me on Instagram, Facebook, and then on my website at BrittanyReid.ca. And so I'll put that in the comments so you can check it out. And I just want to say thank you so much for coming, joining.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And like you said, also guys, make sure you check the freebies that she offered. That was sent to you guys' email.
The freebies. Yeah, so we have 5-figure inflow, which is an awesome mindset shift into locking in 5-figure months. There's the Kundalini, which is the energetic strategy and practices that we use to build out that strong system, and that embodiment piece. And that's the 2. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yeah, you did. Okay. Well, thank you again, Brittany. Thank you to everybody who's on here. Thank you to everybody who catches replay. We appreciate you. I'm overjoyed at the fact that, we've come to this point, but I'm also sad that this is the last one. So I look forward to, guys, the celebration is going to be on Wednesday. So February 19th, there'll be all the giveaways. Come celebrate with us. And so thank you. Thank you again, Brittany. And I will see you guys all on Wednesday. Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Whoop, whoop. Okay.